for the carers. We are super excited to be here today and having our co-host Danni Synot, which also happens to be a friend of ours. And Danni, you are a counselor as well as a co-founder of Brave Enough.
Yeah.
And you provide lots of fantastic resources about mental health and helping out people on how to get unstuck in life, really giving advice on how to get through challenging times. So we're very privileged to have you here today and helping us running this, what I believe to be a fantastic show.
Yeah, and great to be with you guys too. And of course, in a past life, I was a carer and worked, personally and professionally. So I feel really honoured to have been asked to be able to help all of you as carers to be able to get through your journey.
Yeah, that's super excited.
Mm-hmm.
So we have here Giselle and...
Hello.
Yeah, so just a bit of a background. Giselle and I co-founded an organization called Home Instead here in Geelong. We provide in-home care and to our elderly people and people with disabilities. And that journey really sparked this interest and deeper passion in supporting both formal and informal caregivers throughout Australia and hopefully in the world. And then that's why we're here today, really to provide resources and a little bit of inspiration, but also guidance to all our carers out there.
And it's such a wonderful concept, I think, Giovanni, to be able to support the carers in our community, whether they be employed as a carer or whether they're caring for someone at home, because the challenges are very much the same. And, to become a carer is very much a selfless thing. And, to connect that with our why in life, it's such an important thing to have meaning and purpose. And I know that's something for both of you, Giselle and Giovanni. The reason why you do what you do is because of your why. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, thank you. I might start with actually why this conversation with G&G, caring for the carers. And you see, for us, we believe in the profound value and necessity of caregiving and strive to create a platform that uplifts and empowers those who dedicate their lives to this crucial role. So this is a little bit about, why we're doing this. And Giselle, tell us a little bit about the how and the process of this. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So the purpose of this and the process of this show will be us delving into the heart of caregiving through intimate interview-style conversations with healthcare professionals, experts and caregivers. And we're just wanting to create a space for honest and insightful dialogues. And we're going to be uncovering some of the real-life experiences and wisdom found in the world of eldercare and disability.
Fantastic. So specifically, we believe we want to do with this conversation with G&G is going to be an engaging and insightful show that featuring a series of interviews that explore all the different aspects of aged care and disability specifically. And also our content is crafted to be a valuable resource for caregivers seeking guidance, as well as for individuals interested in understanding and more about eldercare and disability. So that's a bit of a nutshell about our show that we're launching today. We're super excited about it.
Yeah, be great. It is super exciting. And what I love about this is that, even just to function as humans in life, we need to have that sense of meaning and purpose. And I know for you guys, that's been a huge part of what you do and the formation of these conversations with G&G, Giovanni and Giselle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So paint us a little bit of a picture about what that's meant for you personally, Giovanni.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking this question. You might be aware I came to Australia in 2011, actually. Now it's 12 years ago. And I wanted to change my lifestyle a little bit and trying to seek other avenues outside of Italy. And that to me has been a very important personal growth to go through this experience. Interesting. How do I make this more impactful?
So what's your why, maybe, even to get involved in caring for you?
So, growing up in a small village in Italy with my family, my mom suffers from some mental health disorders, and I found myself to be, a carer from a very early age. And that to me was a very pivotal time, because I learned to be, looking after, my mom, if you want, and also myself from an early age. And also my father as well has been a little bit, he's got a very dominant personality, and that affected me a little bit, that the family environment. And maybe deep down, I always wanted to care for people, I guess, from my mom's experience, and and understanding all the sufferings that she's going through, and also, in a way, supporting my father, caring for my mother as well. So I think that's where it all started, and I wanted to be there for my family and supporting them through a difficult journey, if you want. I then happened to travel in the States. I went to see and visit my relatives in the States when I was 21. That was the first time I traveled, interstate in an English-speaking country, and I thought I could speak English, but then I quickly found out that I couldn't speak much of English. So it was very challenging. But then I met my uncle, that has been a mentor of mine. So he always inspired me, and I need to study hard and have a purpose, and aim for something bigger in life, bigger than yourself. And that, to me, that kind of conversation really inspired me to apply and trying to become the best person I could possibly be, to be able to eventually give back. And that's exactly what I did after the first trip to the US. I went back home from the age of 21, and I started to study English and trying to learn as much as possible about the language, and then I went into engineering degree and all of that, and I was really motivated to get a degree and have and trying to build a good career for myself. So that's where it all started. And long story short, I found a job in Italy that I quickly learned what it's like to work for a dysfunctional organization, where managers don't value the person, don't empower individuals to do their job to the best of their abilities, but rather they dictate, or they to the point, abuse people, bully people into doing things. And I could touch firsthand, what it's like to work for dysfunctional organizations, and what it's like to treat people purely. And then again, to me, it was just driving me to really, if you want to make a point of this, got to be a better way to treat people, and to run, if you want, successful organization, and to empower culture to thrive and to do something meaningful.
Which is a real parallel, isn't it, between caring and the compassion and the meaning and purpose. It really has all come together for you, Giovanni, professionally and in your personal life, which shows that to lead well and to love well and to care well, all of those three things have to be in place. And it sounds like in your journey, you've been able to really pull those things together to be doing what you're doing right now in empowering carers, which is beautiful.
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting insight. It makes you think that everything that we do in life, or that happens to us, has some purpose, and that purpose will serve you to grow so become a better person. And I believe that ultimately we're here to give back to people, to the community. And that's my biggest sense of fulfillment as to why I'm here on this earth. And I feel incredibly privileged to have the opportunity to run such a successful organization with my partner and my wife, to provide a platform to all my employees to flourish and feel empowered to accomplish such an important mission, which is all about enhancing the lives of aging adults and their family, and touching so many lives out there in the community. That to me is that, I feel incredibly privileged to be able to do that every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can hear that it's very deeply personal. But what about for you, Giselle?
Well, my story is a little bit different in the way that I didn't have, key events that brought me here as such. But I always remember from a child, I always loved people, and I always wanted to be a doctor or a nurse. Like these caring professionals that we always associate with when we're thinking about helping people. You always think of emergency services, doctors, nurses. Yeah. So I always had it in my mind. So even, going through school, I always wanted to do something that looked after people. And in the end, I studied biomedical science and pharmacy, became a pharmacist. And one of the decisions was, as I was getting older, I realised that, well, maybe being a doctor is a bit gruesome for me. I probably couldn't stomach a lot of the stuff. Like, as you get older, you realise what it actually is, what it actually means to be that profession. So I became a pharmacist, and I loved it because you were, the first port of call often for people that would come to the pharmacy and they'll seek help. Yeah. And then you can refer on to GPs or try and help them that way. So that was very fulfilling. And then, of course, I met Giovanni, and he was working in aged care at the time. So with that, we thought, well, and the other thing I think is often when we go to university, and it's so hard when you're at high school and you've got to pick something to study, something to be. Yeah. And I know so many people that went on and did something that they studied, they got their bachelor, then they move, they completely do something different.
If they even finish their degree.
If they even finish. Yeah. So I think there is this huge focus on doing so well with your marks and getting into a particular course. But it's important to realise that you can make that journey, and there's choices, and a lot of people don't just stick to that one path. You can explore other options as well. Yeah. That was one of the important things I think I've learned in the last years, is that just because you do one thing doesn't mean you can't help in other ways. And a lot of skills that you learn in one job or one course are really transferable into other industries and other professions. And you can really make a huge impact by using your passion. And I think that's one of the big drivers, is that underlying passion you have, your why. Why do you want to help people? And I think the point that you raised about being giving back to the community is a huge one. I think for me that's big. That's a big driver.
Yeah, absolutely. Ultimately, growth and contributions are very, very powerful motivators. So,
yeah, they are.
And that's what drives us.
Yeah. And two of the things I'm hearing, and I know these are cliche, but they're just so true. One, enjoy what you do and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
And the other one is that love is an action. It starts with compassion.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really is the driver, isn't it? It's that pain becomes our passion, becomes our purpose, because we see a problem or experience a problem, we find a solution or something that's worked for us, and we want to be able to share it and empower the next person up, and then they can go and follow that pattern. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because when we are doing in our daily life what aligns with our values, the passion comes, the drive comes. And I think, Giovanni, when you were talking about working for that organisation that was a dictatorship and abusive, it wasn't aligning with your values and what you were on the planet to do. And so how beautiful to be in a position right now where we can do that, where you are doing that, where you are making a difference. And, we really hope these conversations have a great opportunity to break through to you in your journey as a carer. There are very few people that can actually define their why. in life. And, it's important to ask ourselves that, especially as carers, but, why do you exist? Why do you get out of bed every morning? What do you bring uniquely to the world? Those kind of questions. It's, what do you carry inside you that can impact others for good? Why is it important for yourself and others that you actually see that through and you do that? It's powerful stuff.
And Danni, tell us a little bit about your why, your story.
Yeah.
And I'll be very, very keen to hear.
Mine's been a little bit colourful, so I could probably take it from a few angles. But probably one of the big drivers in my journey was, I grew up in, I guess, an environment where my parents did the best that they could do, but there was some abandonment and depression and anxiety thrown in and some abuse too. And so I think it's true that people can only give us what they've received themselves. And so experiencing, I guess, the back end of some of those issues, I've very much had a nurturing, I think I was in me anyway, but probably even more so. And my grandma was very nurturing, so I kind of had that example early on. As I got into my early married years, though, we lost a baby when I was 18 weeks pregnant. I did give birth to him, get to hold him in my arms, and that's what really, as I went through that journey of grief and losing a baby and found some things that worked for me, that's really what the catalyst was for me to then move into a counselling space, initially in grief and loss and then trauma and those kinds of things. And so that became really personal. And as our journey unfolded, I ended up working in aged care in different roles and capacities as a chaplain, as a personal carer, doing activities, a bit of in-home care for a little while too, and sort of seeing, I guess, the spectrum of that. And then later on, having some kids with special needs and some ADHD and severe anxiety and having experienced that myself, and then being able to overcome that and then move into those spaces too, it was deeply personal and very empowering to be able to then help somebody else and through that. And so, those common themes are all there. We know why we're doing what we're doing because it helps other people, because our mental health is better too as we help someone else up from theirs. And sometimes that's a big thing, isn't it? It's looking outside of yourself for the impact that you can make in the world. Because let's be honest, I mean, if we turn on the news and we see everything going on, it's pretty dark. And the last thing the world needs is more darkness. So by us living our purpose and our meaning and our calling and helping others, we ignite some of that light back into the world.
Yeah, and also I'd like to make a point. How interesting it is that we meant to grow out of pain. Seems like.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we're going through this painful experience, life experiences and whatnot, and out of that, the meaning that you give to those events is what define your next steps, the choice that you make out of those decisions, right?
Yeah.
And the meaning that you give. So isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is.
It just pushes you to, propel forward with the right meaning though. Again, it always starts with that why and what it means to you.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. And I think particularly like in a caring role, like let's be honest, it can be challenging and exhausting. It reminds me of a story I heard recently about, of all things, a pumpkin. So this guy's just won this massive award for this huge pumpkin, like I'm talking arms wide pumpkin that he grew. And they said, how did you do it? And he said, I put I forget exactly what it was, but something ridiculous like, 10 litres of water on it a day and cow manure. And I'm like, isn't that true? We grow when things are crappy. When life's throwing that stuff, it actually ends up being fertiliser. We actually need it to reassess why we're doing what we're doing, to revisit our why, to work out what's not working for us. Because just eliminating that from our story, working out, like you said, we're studying what we don't want to do, brings us closer to the things that we do.
Yeah. It's important to use that experience to help other people and use it in a positive way. And it's very difficult at the time, but by growing, you get out of that rut, I think, a lot quicker by moving forward, I think.
Yeah, in your opinion, then, just thinking out loud here, what are some of the strategies to empower people to give, the best possible meaning out of, crappy situations, as you say? Like, how do you get unstuck and move forward?
Yeah. Great question, Giovanni. And I think, depending on where you're at, what you're dealing with, obviously, that advice can vary. I think that when it comes to getting unstuck, we've got to look at genuinely why are we stuck? Have we played a contributing role in it? Is it that we're dealing with some trauma? In what ways are we stuck? Are we anxious? Are we ruminating on negativity? Are we just not fulfilled because our life's not reflecting who we are and our meaning and purpose? So I think to be able to, I guess, almost do an autopsy on our lives, on how we got here. And, if you're wanting some help sheets on that, I can certainly provide them for you to help you unpack that. We only grow on what we feed ourselves, right? So we've got 5 senses for a reason. Our eyes, our ears, our nose, our smell, our taste and touch. So garbage in, garbage out. What are we thinking? What are we listening to? What are we watching? What are we telling ourselves? And so to be able to then unpack that and then decide what we're going to feed and what we're going to starve.
Yeah. We've really learned a lot
important
from social media, haven't we? Like the impacts that Instagram has on how people who are just scrolling and how they feel about themselves, and that contribution to maybe negativity or comparing lifestyles. So it really is, what you're thinking is so important.
Yeah.
And it can almost become addictive, right? Keep scrolling and, feeding through this social media random information.
Keep seeking that same. Yeah.
Yeah, but as you say, you want to sort of get out of the rat race and get into more healthy habits. Maybe that also helps.
Yeah, I think so. And I think particularly when we're talking about being a carer, there are big challenges associated with that. And especially if we're doing that for a loved one at home. We're not, for example, a paid carer. We are, caring for a loved one. And, we can end up in those situations and circumstances for different reasons. Sometimes we've got an ageing parent. Sometimes we have a child who was born with a disability and they're living with that every day. Sometimes it's an accident or an illness and we're thrown into it and we're not doing it because it's a choice to serve. We're doing it because our circumstances have led us into that. And what I would say is that one of the best things that people can do, especially if they're feeling burned out and exhausted, is to remember that we can't fill others from an empty cup. So that self-care is just so important. And it's actually part of your role and your responsibility as a carer, to look out for yourself. Yeah. Because self-care is not selfish. Yeah. It's just something that's crucial and critical. Yeah. And so, I'd be having a look at that as a carer too. Yeah. Especially if you're in that situation, maybe in an involuntary way and you've got that internal thing of, this is not what I signed up for, but I love the person I'm caring for. Yeah. Take that time out. Yeah. Have a rest. Have some time to do some things that bring you alive as an individual.
And I think as well, there's always going to be some things that we can and can't control. And it's really important to sit down and identify those things, because if you're worrying about something and you can't control that, then you need to name it and put it aside. Yeah. So I think a focus on that can sometimes help people as well.
Oh, yeah. And so many carers, they get so riddled with guilt, feeling like they have to do it all themselves. There are so many services and respite services, for example, and in-home caring and things like that can just give you that little bit of a break every now and again for you to be able to get out and do some things for yourself and things that need to be taken care of that you don't have time. Really, really important. Yeah. And then when you get to sit with your own sense of meaning and purpose and why, it's important for you to schedule that time, for you to be able to do that. And, I love what a guy by the name of Simon Synot has said. His the champion of why, if you know who he is. He's absolutely devoted his life.
Big fan of Sevens.
Oh, so good. He does his TED talk on why, and I highly recommend it. And he's basically dedicated his life to inspire people to do the things that inspire them, and just popularising that whole concept of why, and exactly what we've been talking about. And he says this, he says, you can easily judge the character of a man by how he treats those who can do nothing for him. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important too, as carers, for us to remember that we are directly impacting another human being.
So relevant to the caring roles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very impactful. Yeah, with the concept of, starting with why, I mean, we spoke about it. It's very, very important. But so how do you find that why? What is it, and how important it is to always keep your eyes on the ball, if you want, right? To always have that front of your mind to get you through difficult situations.
Yeah, I think it's the little spark that brings you alive. If you tune in the radio and there's some songs playing it, but then your favourite song comes on, right? And you're just like, oh, you're singing along and you love it, and there's something that just lights up. Is always a really good indicator.
Yeah.
But sometimes
something that resonates with you, you can feel you vibrate at a different frequency, right?
Exactly.
So to speak.
But if we've been living in a space where we're anxious or depressed or burnt out, we can almost, or we're caring, and our focus has been so much on somebody else.
Yeah.
Especially in things like palliative care even. Sometimes we actually lose our identity and our own sense of self in that. And so just to be able to sit down, and this is an exercise I do with some of my clients because it's really, really valuable, and I practice it on a regular basis, probably a few times a year. I'll sit down and do it when I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, and I'll just go to a whole bunch of categories. And again, I've got some sheets for this if you want it. But just things like, what are my favourite TV shows? What do I love to do to relax? And so you might write things down like, I love to sit by the beach and listen to the ocean. I love to get a massage. I like to sit in my pyjamas and binge on Virgin River and eat ice cream. Whatever that happens to be. Who are the people that I can really talk to and trust in my circle? And a whole heap of categories like that. And just reconnect with yourself and then sit down and look at your values.
Yeah.
What do I value in a relationship? Is it trust and loyalty? Is it compassion? What are my love languages? Is it things like acts of service and gifts? Or am I more of a quality time and physical touch kind of person? And then reconnect with those things, and pretty soon you'll sit there and brainstorm it, and you'll have a bit of a lane. If you think of like a 6-lane freeway, to be able to go, okay, what are the things that I've been asked to be involved with, or that I want to be involved with, or a new job that I want to try out, or I want to take a study path, whatever that looks like. I want to start a new hobby. What actually aligns with who I am and what I'm about?
Yeah.
What is it that I detest about some people? Yeah. Like, is it dishonesty? Is it I'm more of a person that works best in a team or individually? Yeah. Just really going through and doing a bit of an inventory on the easier life becomes, because you have a tribe then of people and support, people that get it, that actually will speak in and speak truth and authenticity into your journey, even mentors.
So yeah, very, very important. And also make those rules and values known to your loved ones, so they know your own rules, right? Your own values. And hopefully they will respect that. Right. And back to your point about the way we recruit, you're very right there. Well, we're very clear on our values and our purpose, and we attract the caregivers that are a reflection of our values, and we can quickly filter out those that are not quite a good match. And most of the time is a cultural and again is a value match rather than a skill set or an experience necessarily. In fact, one of the best caregivers that we have are the ones that don't necessarily come with experience or with the certifications. You can always get a certification anyway, but it's about your why. It's about the values. It's about why you want to join a caring organization rather than providing home care. If that affinity is powerful enough, then it's a good match.
Yeah, that's right. And if it aligns with their values, that'll be just a natural progression to be getting skilled up and doing all of that, which is, it's pretty powerful, isn't it? And no shame in it too. If you're in a caring role, or maybe even as a paid carer, and it's not for you, that's okay. But find out what is. Don't stay in a space that's not helpful to you. The other thing I think, Giovanni, too, is carer satisfaction. Having that sense of purpose leads to satisfaction in our role as a carer. And so once you feel that what you're doing for another person is meaningful, that it does make a difference, that it does have purpose, when you're invested in that role, you'll be more productive too, and your relationship with the person you're caring for will improve as well.
Absolutely. Not only that, but the outcome for the clients, this professionally speaking, is actually a lot better, because then you can actually achieve the care continuity, and the caregivers feel like almost a duty that they need to go and continue to see this particular person. And so that relationship built between the two is very, very powerful. It's very, very powerful. And that's where you get the best outcome for people. Once you have that connection and that affinity, that relationship.
That's right. And, you look at people in history, like even Mother Teresa, for example, probably one of the best carers that we've ever seen an example of. And, she was always out there on the streets of Calcutta, genuinely caring for people, living amongst the poor, not having money herself, but just having that value that drove what she said. And you just got to get on Google and check out some of her quotes. I mean, they're quite amazing. I know one of the things she said was that people are unrealistic, illogical, self-centered, love them anyway. And sometimes it's like that, isn't it? When we're caring for someone and they're not feeling well, or maybe they've got dementia and they don't know what they're saying, they can get a bit grumpy, they can say really mean things. And it can really tug at our heartstrings and really be like a dagger, because we're there pouring out and loving them and doing the best that we can. She also said, be kind and merciful. Let no one ever come to you without coming away feeling better and happier. And I think any carer that's worth their soul, that's really the end goal, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's to make a difference.
Yeah, that's why we do it.
And be reminded of why you do what you do. Again, that's what gives you the motivation to continue anyway and push through those challenging situations, because challenging situations will come. It's just no doubt about it. We're going to be faced with challenging times.
Absolutely.
It's just something that we need to count for.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And isn't that life?
Yeah.
Is that soul roller coaster? Is that Ronan Keating or something? Like it's a roller coaster, you've just got to ride it. It's so true.
Yeah, things will happen. And it's about having the skill set and the resilience to push through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to achieve with this, conversations, and provide some tools and resources. Maybe we can explore other areas of caregiving and other topics and resources. And
there's a lot to unpack, isn't there?
there's a lot to unpack. We're very, very excited. I'm learning so much already by listening to you, and really go deeper into topics and getting those insights.
Yeah, just by talking, it makes you reflect. And that's important, isn't it? That's one of the things that we're talking about, is sitting down and reflecting about what's going well, what are your values, all those types of things to help you push forward.
And have the time to do that. Dedicate time to, some meditation.
Yeah.
Things like that. You need to give time to yourself to just let it happen and meditate over it.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly right.
Yeah. If you just go, they have no time for any of that. That's very, very important stuff.
That's right. Yeah, all of that, carving out time. Yeah. Super important. And, we've been able to put together some resources for you today if you need some help with unpacking your journey, finding your why, So if you'd like to receive some of those, you can just pop that in the comments below or shoot us an email and we'll make sure that we'll get those too.
Amazing.
They'll be making available on the website as well, and we'll create a bit of a resource section for that.
Yeah.
So, very, very grateful for your time. Danni has been
Danni.
great for a session.
So nice talking
A
to
little bit
you.
rusty here and there, but I think we got it through. I think concepts are coming across. We got some good, good values out of this conversation, I believe, personally.
Well, it's been a lot of fun, and this isn't the last one. We'll be doing one every month
Amazing.
for you to take part in.